Tennessee, autumn of 1937. A 6-year-old girl falls ill with a strep infection. Her mother reaches for a new wonder drug, elixir sulphanilamide. Within hours, the child is fighting for her life. She wasn't alone. Across America, similar scenes were unfolding in homes and hospitals, marking the beginning of one of the most devastating pharmaceutical disasters in American history. The story begins with a breakthrough. Sulphanilamide, a revolutionary antibiotic, was saving lives across the country. But there was a problem. It only came in pill form. Patients, especially children, needed a liquid version. Enter Harold Watkins, the chief pharmacist at S.E. Massengill Company. His task seemed simple: create a liquid form of this miracle drug. After experimenting with various solvents, he found one that worked perfectly: diethylene glycol. The solution was sweet-tasting, bright pink, and absolutely lethal. What Watkins didn't know, what no one at Massengill bothered to check, was that diethylene glycol, a chemical used in antifreeze, was essentially poison. No safety tests were conducted, none were required by law. The company produced 240 gallons of the elixir and shipped it across the country. Within weeks, reports of deaths began flooding in. Dr. Samuel Massengill, the company's owner, would later say, "My chemists and I deeply regret the fatal results, but there was no error in the manufacture of the product. We have been supplying a legitimate professional demand." The final death toll: 107 people, including 34 children. Each death was excruciating, marked by severe kidney failure, paralysis, and eventual organ shutdown. The tragedy was entirely preventable. But from this darkness came light. The public outcry was deafening, reaching all the way to President Roosevelt's desk. Congress acted swiftly, passing the 1938 Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, a watershed moment in pharmaceutical safety. For the first time in history, companies were required to prove their drugs were safe before selling them. No longer could medications be released without thorough safety testing. Every new drug application now needed detailed safety data, chemical compositions, and proposed labeling. Think about this. Today, when your pharmacist hands you a medication, you're protected by layers of safety regulations born from this tragedy. Every clinical trial, every safety test, every detailed label, they all trace their origins to those 107 lives lost in 1937. Now, let's put ourselves in their shoes. Imagine you're a pharmaceutical executive in 1937. You have a new drug formulation. Under 1937 standards, you could release it immediately. Under modern standards, you'd need months of safety testing. What would you choose? The pressure of market demand or the caution of safety protocols? The answer seems obvious now. But in 1937, without our modern understanding of drug safety, the choice wasn't so clear. This is why we study history, not to judge the past, but to ensure we never repeat its mistakes. The sulphanilamide disaster stands as a testament to why we can never take drug safety for granted. Every regulation written in its wake, every life saved by modern safety protocols, they all honor those 107 souls who paid the ultimate price for this lesson. Germany, 1957. In laboratories of Chemie Grunenthal, scientists believed they had created something remarkable, a new sedative that promised peaceful sleep without the risk of overdose. They called it thalidomide. Marketing campaigns proclaimed it completely safe for everyone, even pregnant women. The perfect solution for morning sickness. Mothers-to-be across Europe and beyond reached for this miracle pill, hoping to ease their discomfort. No one could have predicted the devastating wave about to crash upon thousands of families. By 1961, maternity wards began witnessing something unprecedented. Babies were being born with severe deformities, tiny seal-like limbs, a condition later named phocomelia. Some had no limbs at all. Others had damaged internal organs, missing ears, blind eyes. The numbers were staggering. Over 10,000 children affected worldwide. Germany, Britain, Australia, Canada. No country that had approved the drug was spared. Families that had celebrated upcoming births now faced unimaginable challenges. Let's pause for a moment and hear Sarah's story, one of the survivors. Sarah, my mother took just 2 pills. That's all it took to change my life forever. But I survived, and I thrived. We thalidomide survivors are living proof that disability doesn't define human potential. But amid this global tragedy, one country largely escaped the devastation: the United States. The reason? A determined FDA medical reviewer named Dr. Francis Kelsey. Picture a newly hired FDA physician, facing enormous pressure to approve what seemed like a simple sleeping pill. But something didn't sit right with Dr. Kelsey. The safety data was incomplete. The studies inadequate. Despite mounting pressure from the pharmaceutical company, despite being labeled as overly fussy and bureaucratic, she stood her ground. Month after month, she demanded more evidence, better studies, concrete proof of safety. Her scientific instincts and unwavering determination saved thousands of American families from tragedy. But more than that, her stance revolutionized drug safety forever. Now, let's put ourselves in Dr. Kelsey's shoes. The year is 1960. Before you sits a drug application. The medication is already approved in over 20 countries. Your superiors are eager for approval. The company is pushing hard. But something about the data troubles you. What would you do? Would you A. Approve the drug, given its widespread use elsewhere? B. Request more safety data, risking professional criticism? C. Deny the application outright? Dr. Kelsey chose to demand more evidence again and again. Her decision wasn't just about one drug, it was about establishing a precedent that would protect generations to come. The thalidomide tragedy led to revolutionary changes in drug safety, mandatory reporting of adverse effects, stricter requirements for clinical trials, enhanced protection for pregnant women in drug testing, and international cooperation in drug safety monitoring. Today, thalidomide survivors continue to remind us why pharmacovigilance matters. Their stories of resilience, advocacy, and triumph over adversity drive us to maintain the highest standards of drug safety. Every time a drug application is thoroughly reviewed, every time a potential risk is caught before approval, we honor Dr. Kelsey's legacy and the thousands of families whose lives were forever changed by thalidomide. This isn't just history, it's a living reminder of why we must remain vigilant, why we must always prioritize safety over speed, and why we must never forget the lesson learned at such a terrible cost.